Today we'll be playing through the theme of Joseph Haydn's Surprise Symphony, which he wrote in 1791. Our piece today is 16 measures, and we're going to be working through it in just sections of 4 measures at a time. So very small bite-sized pieces, and each section will have its own main idea that we're looking at. Our first section, the first 4 measures, we're focusing on our staccato bowing because we have these staccato quarter notes. Any quarter note with a little dot on it, we're going to be playing very short. Sometimes when people try and play staccatos, they tense up and they get, I think we overthink it, and our shoulder tenses up and we press too hard. But really all you need to do to play a good staccato is have a nice relaxed bow arm, start by pressing down into the string, apply your pressure first, and then pull the string and release. And that will make the sound short. You could try this on the open D string by just playing 8 staccatos. And listen for the silence between each note. You want to listen to the dead space between each bowing that you do. Otherwise, we rush. We get faster and faster and faster. It snowballs. So as we're playing Surprise Symphony, just kind of count yourself in. Our tempo is marked andante. That means moderately slowly. So you're just going to count about this speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll be your speed. You want to keep your staccatos nice and short. If it sounds like this, that's not really staccato. So keep them short, apply the pressure, and then release quickly. Our half notes, on the other hand, we want to use the long, full bow to get the 2 counts out of it. One other reminder for the notes in this section is we have low 2 on the D string for our F naturals, and high 2 on the G string for our B naturals. So with that in mind, let's play through the first 4 measures together. 1, 2, 3, 4. For our next 4 measures, measures 5 through 8, we still have our staccato bowings and our half notes, but now we also have some dynamic markings. We have a crescendo and diminuendo, which they kind of look like alligators in the music. But that's just telling us we're going to grow louder, we're going to increase our volume, and then we're going to fade away. Also in measure 7, there is an F sharp. So this is going to change from being a low 2 on the D string to being a high 2. In your book, it's marked with your 3rd finger. That would mean putting the C natural on the A string and then crossing your 3rd finger over to play the F sharp. You can try it that way. I personally just prefer to go from the low 2 to the high 2 on the D string. So as long as you remember to make that change, you'll be fine on this section here. It's just like doing the high 2 on the G string. So this section, when you do the crescendo, when you get louder, it doesn't mean suddenly become louder. Each note will gradually become louder. So you start soft, and then right here, each note is louder until it says mezzo forte. Now we're playing loud. And then we fade away to the piano. Let's try this together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to hold that last note for 3 counts. There's a rest, and something happens there in the orchestral part. I'll tell you at the end. Now, let's go to the next line together, measures 9 through 12. The sound changes suddenly. We go from these short staccatos to a very smooth, slurred sound. So we have these slurs across strings. To get that string crossing, you might just practice on the open D and G string and see if you can get very smooth, connected notes. Your hand will make a figure 8 shape as you're changing strings. Once you have that down, then you would be able to try the first measure. In the second measure of this line, so measure 10, we see something interesting. There's 2 Ds that are slurred together, and they both have legato markings, the tenuto lines, which tells us to play what's called a lore bowing. So it's 2 separate notes, but instead of doing a down-up, we're doing a down-down. So it's almost like when we've done our hooks before, but instead of being staccatos, they're nice and smooth. So there's just a slight separation between the notes. We're just gently pushing each note. We also have a crescendo in this section, just like we did in the last section. So as you go up that scale, you're going to get louder and louder. And then when we go to the A there, do make sure you play your fourth finger instead of the open A, because we want to keep our fingers on the D string. We want to keep our bow all on one string through this section. So let's start together from measure 9 once you're ready. So set your low 2, F natural. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fade away. We go back to piano there at the end of the section. Now we come to measure 13, where we're putting all of these ideas together. We have our staccatos, we have our crescendos and diminuendos, we have smooth slurs. So we're putting all of this together for the final section, where we're doing a C major arpeggio, getting louder, up to our fourth finger on the A string. That's the top note of the piece. Then we come down with a diminuendo, getting softer. 1, 2, 3, and we're off. So let's try those 4 measures together now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, once you've practiced each of the 4 sections, one at a time, you'll be ready to play the whole song together. So once you're ready for that, join me again and we will play through the piece together from the very beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have it, Joseph Haydn's Surprise Symphony. If you're wondering why this is called the Surprise Symphony, it's because Joseph Haydn was a bit of a prankster, and what he did in this song was he wrote this section to be very slow and very soft and kind of lull the audience to be very relaxed. And then right at the end of the first line in this song, there's a big chord where the orchestra plays vroom, really loudly together. So you could actually imagine that happening as you play through the first line very softly. It's very gentle, very calm. And right at the end of the line, then a giant boom chord comes through and the whole orchestra plays very loudly, and then it returns to being piano as if nothing happened. It's quite funny if you listen to the full orchestral recording. So I'll put a link where you can listen to the whole piece together and you'll hear that big chord, and it's really quite funny to listen to. So with that in mind, keep practicing through this one. Take it 4 measures at a time and you'll do just fine. Happy practicing.